Okay, I'm on. This is Specialist Condon, coming from the comfort of my own room. I'm here to discuss cabling. Now, I know I'm a 25 November, and I really shouldn't deal too much with cabling and crap like that. That's the job for 25 Limas, but I've seen some pretty damn shoddy cabling, specifically with Ethernet cable. Now, I'm going to show you guys how to properly fabricate an Ethernet cable. What I have here is what's left of a 100-foot spool of Ethernet cable, 2 Ethernet connectors, and a Radio Shack Ethernet and RJ11 crimping tool. This is useful for doing both Ethernet and phone cable. So if I wanted to do phone cable with this, I could do that too. It's got a 6-pin and an 8-pin connector, which is good. It also has cutting tool and a jacket removal tool for both RJ45 and RJ11. So what I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to cut the cable, and I'm going to cut it to I don't want to make this cable too long, but I don't want to make it too short on the same token. So I'll take about I think that's about 3 feet. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. I don't really care. But I don't want to make it too short and I don't want to make it too long. And what I do is I cut the cable. Now you'll notice what happened with that cut was it also removed the jacket right here. It also cut a little bit into the cords, so I can't use this portion. So what I'm going to do is the same thing I just did, except I'm going to cut it to right about here. Done. Now we have the little wires inside that go right up to the edge of the jacket. And this one needs to be cut too, because the wires are uneven. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just snip a little bit off right there and drop the cable. We can now put this away because it doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot right now. We have a cable right here, 2 ends, obviously. What we do is we take the stripper tool, jacket stripper tool anyways, and we insert it to the point where it's about, actually you'll want to leave a little bit more than you'll need because you're going to have to cut the actual ends of the wires off so that they're even. Because what I just did was try to make the wires roughly even, but that doesn't really work. Once you untwist the wires, they'll be uneven again. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to take your stripper tool and just go like this real quick all the way around, and bam, your jacket's removed. Now what you'll need to do is you'll need to take these separate these separate wires, and you want to bend them down like that. And you can see we have green, orange, blue, and brown. So what we do is we untwist the wires. Each individual pair needs to be untwisted. Okay. There. Now that they're undone, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to properly wire this particular connection. Now, we have the green pair, right? There's actually two ways to wire this, and if you use one way to wire it on one side and one way to wire it on the other, you will have what's called a crossover cable. This is useful for connecting two PCs together, or two routers together, or two switches together. Although switches these days usually rely on auto negotiation, routers somehow aren't so smart. So, the convention for 100 megabit is stripe solid, stripe solid, stripe solid, stripe solid. So, the way to do that is actually a little bit more odd than you'd think. I don't know why they do it this way, but they do. And the way it's done is like this. Take green, green, and you take one of the orange ones, then blue, blue, the other orange one, and kind of try to even them out just a little bit. And if you heard that, you know that I have unshielded speakers on my alarm clock. Yay. And what we're doing right now is we're trying to straighten out these cables. They're not cables, these wires right here. Straighten them out as best you can. And here is the common mistake that I see a lot of people, especially around here, making. I'm going to straighten these out. This is not the common mistake that I see people here making. I'll further straighten these wires out. And I'm going to even out the ends like that. You see it forms a nice straight edge. And then we go like this. And this is the reason I told you to make sure you have the wires straightened out, because if you can see that, you'll notice that it's going in stripe solid, stripe solid, stripe solid, stripe solid. Just the way it should be. Now, I didn't clip off, I didn't pull enough of the jacket off to demonstrate this, but the problem I'm seeing with a lot of cables around here is that while they are making a good connection, a good proper connection, they're crimped with the jacket lying outside of this little thing right here. This little notch right here is actually what holds the cable in, so that you can't just pull the thing off. Now, the crimping will do that too. This is actually, these little pins right here are actually what's going into the wire to make an electrical connection. What holds the mechanical connection in is this little pin right here. If this little pin is not connecting to the jacket, you have no mechanical connection, only the electrical connection. And the electrical connection is easily severed. I could just pop the thing off. It would take a little bit of force, of course, but that's all that it would require doing. So, what I do is I take the cable and go like this. You gotta rock it back and forth. Make sure the jacket is pushed in enough to make a connection. And also, if you can see this, you can actually see the tips of each of the wires right here. You can see the tips of them. So what you do from here push the jacket the rest of the way in, like that. You can see how far the jacket is in, right there. Then what you do is take your crimping tool, right here, holding it the wrong way. This flat part is the part that has to push this in. These toothed parts right here are the parts that push these little pins in. So what you do is you insert it like that, and then apply a little bit of force, and you'll note that these pins have gone in, and more importantly, the jacket is now being held in by this right here. This little notch that I told you about. And that is just one end of a two-ended cable. The other end I'm going to demonstrate two different ways to make a crossover cable, and that'll be in the next video that I'm doing.